Hey man, if you clicked on this video because you're a man in your 40s or 50s who went through a massive breakup from a serious relationship or marriage, and you want to meet new women to date, then listen to this message. This was me 12 years ago. In that particular moment, I was quite happy, but my actual life was way below what I wanted. I was overweight, I was scared, I'd given up my power, and my only release was masturbation. My ex ran the show, and I was reactive to everything. I had a very low level of introspection and virtually no curiosity. This is what my client Stacey Baker, aged 50, just sent me on WhatsApp just a few days ago. You see, before I met Stacey on Facebook, he presented himself as an intelligent, high-performing medical professional with a wealth of life experience. And as that photo shows, on the outside, he appeared to be actually happy, confident, and owning his life. But this was far from the truth. Because on the inside, Stacey was suffering because, like most men, he didn't want to admit to himself that he'd fucked up his life. His relationship with women sucked and he felt useless, but he was too ashamed to admit it, which is why he kept doing all the wrong things that made it even worse every day. You see, he'd completely devalued himself through his past marriage. He was full of self-loathing and suffering from the nice guy people pleaser syndrome, avoiding conflict with absolutely no self-esteem or self-confidence when it came to himself or women. And his only escape in his marriage was watching porn and masturbation and thinking there was no way he could ever come back. And not only that, Stacey was significantly overweight for his age and was stuck chasing this toxic, low-quality woman who didn't love him and didn't respect him and absolutely treated him like crap. And the hardest pill to swallow, Stacey was just taking it. But this is Stacey now, dressed like a gangster and absolutely crushing it in the dating game. And in just a few months of working with me, he did a full 360 and he was able to completely transform his life around. He lost over 20 kilograms and he started dating multiple gorgeous women despite his old age and previous terrible experiences with women and relationships. And he literally started having nice quality women throw themselves at him and flirting with him on their own. Now, you might be thinking, oh, you probably had to cold approach thousands of women to make this transformation. He must have been a super rich guy with buttloads of money and fame. Well, in reality, it was much simpler than that. It was all just about becoming that true masculine leader inside the relationship and acting like the man and refusing to accept the woman's terms just to keep her happy and avoiding conflict. It was about understanding how women think and how to naturally attract women. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how Stacey was able to make this transformation in just a few short months. But most importantly, how you can do the same without having to be jacked out of your mind, without cold approaching thousands of women at bars and staying up till 3 a.m. drinking 3 nights a week, and without having to be a Miami millionaire driving around in a Lambo all day, so that you can start going on more dates with high quality women and get a step closer to finding that one dream girl that you'd spend the rest of your life with. All right, let's get into it. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Dan Gibson Dating, and I've been helping men like Stacey for the last 5 years. I've helped over 120 men. Without going into detail in my story, my failures with women started in as young as grade 5 and escalated through there, and it all compounded, and I ended up getting engaged to or nearly marrying the wrong woman, becoming a single dad to that woman, to the child with that woman. And basically, the long story short is I completely destroyed my life, and I was just hitting around 40 years old. My life was in tatters, financially destroyed, business in the ground. It was the biggest slap that could ever hit me in the face. And I'd struggled with women and dating my entire life, and this had been the thorn in my side. It had caused me, everywhere else in my life was fine, but women and dating was the thorn in my side, and it caused me so much pain and suffering. It drove me to drugs and alcohol in my 20s because it was the only thing that could numb the pain. And I did all sorts of crazy, stupid, weird things to try and get women. And all of that ended up with me being in the wrong relationship with the wrong woman that nearly did destroy my life and kind of in a way nearly killed me. And from that point on, I realized that that's not where I was supposed to be. This was an area of my life that I wanted to be working for me since grade 5. And here I was at 40 with a completely messed up love life no idea how to attract the type of women I want or create the type of relationships I want. And I made a decision then and there that wasn't the end of my story. I have one chance left. I've got 20 or 30 good years left of my life, at 40, and I want to make the most of it. And I'm going to figure this the fuck out. And so I went on a massive, massive journey, and it resulted me like learning about dating apps and dating and getting coaches and mentors and boot camps and reading books and studying and watching YouTube videos till 1 a.m. and taking lots of action and going clubbing on my own and cold approaching thousands of women and trying to figure it all out, and ended up going on well over 300 dates, over a few years, and all the way up to meeting the perfect match for me and being in a beautiful relationship with a beautiful young girl. She loves my daughter. We've got a great plan and a vision together, and life is good, right? Life is magical. Life is perfect. And because I've got that sorted now, everything else in my life is blossoming because I don't have to worry about women. I don't have to think about women. And this is something that a lot of guys don't realize, is that a lot of your problems in life stem from women. And if you really want to boil it all down, everything that we do as men in life can be traced back to attempting to improve our success in the sexual marketplace. Because as a living organism, we want to propagate our genes into the future. We want our offspring to dominate the world. And so everything that we do in some way or another, even if it's subtle or nuanced, traces back to this. And if you're trying really hard and you've got all these things going on in your life and you've got success in other areas and business and money and you're good at your work, your career, and all these other things, hobbies and pursuits, maybe you're really good at surfing, I don't know, but there's this, you're going to social events alone, right? You've had a bad relationship, a toxic relationship, it nearly killed you. You basically hung your balls on the door every time you went in the house. You became a people pleaser. You thought you did all the wrong things. You thought doing more was better. You thought trying to please your woman would make her happy. And it's confusing because she just got more disrespectful and started to love you less. Eventually the relationship ended, and now you've spent a couple of years trying to figure out what the fuck went wrong, okay? And so what I'm going to cover in this video is a little bit about how Stacey went from that man that was suffering in silence, putting on a brave face, putting on a facade, showing the world that he was fine, everything was okay, that he was a professional, that he was doing well, that he was cool, that he had everything together, but inside that he didn't want to share with the world, and this is happening in men all over the world, is he was a mess. And how he went from feeling like that to going to the complete opposite. Stacey now feels like he is the boss. He is the king. He's got this all handled. He's got this all under control. Stacey's got a really good sense of humor, and that had become Stacey's crutch. Stacey would use his sense of humor in order to create a facade that protected him from having to show the world what was really going on inside. And we all have different facades. For me, it was cockiness. For Stacey, it was humor. For you, it might be something else. What is it that is going on inside that you don't want the world to know, you're ashamed of, or you feel bad about, or you're worried that people will judge you when it comes to women, dating, and relationships? And maybe you haven't even connected the dots there. And, Stacey, he felt useless. He felt hopeless. He felt apathetic. He felt like that he didn't have any control over his life. And when he was in his marriage, which ended well before he actually came and started working with me, in his words, every time he walked in the door, he'd hang his balls up on the door, and he was emasculated. And he thought and felt that in order to make this work, because us as men, we always want to make the relationship work. Commitment is so big for us. Once we're committed to a woman, we want to make it work. We loved this woman once. We thought she loved us, and she probably did. She probably saw you as a person to love, and how women love is different to how men love. And this is, that's a topic for another video because it's a very, very deep psychological topic. But respect, for women is love. And when women start to lose respect, they start to stop loving you. And when you hang your balls up on the door in a relationship and you can't say no, you can't put your foot down, you can't lead women, you can't tell her, put her in a place, you can't be the leader, be the CEO in that relationship, then this is what happens. And then the mistake that we make is that we think I've got to do more. And the old adage of, I'll take the trash out more, I'll do more dishes, I'll vacuum, I'll help around the house more. And we end up burning ourselves out by doing more when we actually have to do much less of all that stuff. And what we actually have to do is be more. We have to be the man that our woman wants us to be. And that is, women want us to put them in their place. Now, if you're watching this and you're in a relationship, it's very difficult to make that change within a relationship. It's possible. Again, a video for another time. So what we did with Stacey is we addressed all of this. First of all, we started looking at what his beliefs were around who he was as a man, his identities, his values, what he thought he was supposed to do, how he thought life was supposed to be, how he thought women acted and behaved, and how he thought that women thought and felt. So we realigned all of that and gave him a whole new world of understanding. And then what we did is we started putting that into practice by, first of all, we needed some women to start to practice being the new way. We needed some new women to date. Key point here, when Stacey came to me, he was in a relationship for 3 months with a young woman, a very beautiful woman, who was treating him like absolute dog crap, to the point where, in despair, Stacey told me just after we started working, man, I've come to see this girl and she's staying at a hotel and I'm waiting in the foyer. I've been here for 4 hours because she doesn't want to get out of bed and come and bring me up in the lift. I mean, this is the level of emasculation that Stacey had reached without even realizing, right? He was settling for that type of behavior and that type of disrespect and that level of absolute dogshit treatment because he didn't know how to say no to that. He didn't know how to command respect from women. So this woman was walking all over it. So very quickly that relationship ended after we started doing the work, and Stacey started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and he started to realize, what am I doing? What am I doing here? We brought that to light. And so we needed some new women to practice on, coming back to the original story. So the first thing we've got to do is build some traffic. And so after we realigned all his beliefs and his identities and worked out clarity and vision and worked out exactly what it is that he wanted and what he didn't want, then we mapped out the plan to get there. We wanted to build a dating app. Okay, this is the fastest and easiest and lowest pressure way to start meeting new women to date. And I know a lot of you guys out there have heard everyone saying, dating apps don't work. And maybe you've tried dating apps and dating apps don't work for you. That's, again, a whole nother video. And there's a whole reason for that, because 100% dating apps work. I met my beautiful, perfect match on the dating app. They absolutely work, okay? For now, for this video, you've just got to believe me that they do. So once with the right strategy and plan, we started building the right dating app, getting all the photos right, getting the bio right, launching a new app and starting to use it properly, implementing the texting system, because us men don't know how to text women sexually, because the difference between a friend and a girlfriend is sex. And if you're not texting in a way that's sexually desirable and sexually attractive, then you are seen as just another weakling guy, just another guy like the 95% of guys on dating apps that don't know how to do it. And that's why women ghost you. That's why they don't go on dates. That's why they don't match with you, all of these reasons. So we fixed all of that and he started having some experiences. Then through that, while he's practicing it, we started to address his behaviors and his beliefs as he's interacting with women. And through a process of feedback and communication and jumping on calls and asking questions, and me analyzing what's going on in this situation, me reviewing his text message conversations, it's a really great learning tool. We started to completely realign his behaviors with his new beliefs and his new identities. What happened then was a fundamental shift in the way women started treating Stacey. So instead of women seeing him as this, because women are deeply intuitive, women can see right through men. And if you're weak inside and you've got a facade up that's covering shit that isn't truly aligned inside you, if you don't have any real self-confidence, if you don't have any confidence with women, if you don't believe you're worthy, if you don't believe you're deserving of women, if you don't feel attractive, if you don't feel like the man, if you don't feel like the boss, then everything that happens on the outside that women see is basically just a cover up for those deficiencies that are within you. These deficiencies are inside you. They're not external. And what most men do and why they suffer so much is they think that the deficiency is on the outside. And so they'll go and spend years in the gym. They'll spend years making money. They'll get a better house, more money, better job, more status, look better, get their teeth done, blah, 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 blah. And while all those things definitely help, because women don't date broke McDonald's workers, we know that women date across or up, okay, at their perceived level of value, okay? The external stuff is important, but it's the internal stuff that makes all the difference. And if you don't feel like the man inside that deserves all of those things, and the woman, she can see right through you like Superman can see through walls. Right, and so as a result of all of this work that Stacey did in actually looking inwards instead of outwards, what do I have to fix about how I feel about myself, my worthiness, feeling like the prize, feeling deserved of the type of women that I want? It changed the way that he radiated his energy. It changed the way he interacted with women, and it changed the way women responded to him. And what happened was, instead of women keeping a wide berth and not wanting anything to do with Stacey, because what we don't realize as men is that what's happening on the inside, even though we've got this shield around us, this facade, and for Stacey it was his humor, we are this leaky energy that radiates from us that women can pick up on, and they stay well away from. And so what happened was at Stacey's work and wherever he went, women started showing interest in him. They started flirting with him. They started talking dirty out of the middle of nowhere. You know, amazing stuff that was a complete transformation. And Stacey started to take charge of this process. And very quickly, he went from chasing some toxic woman and feeling like the biggest piece of shit with his balls in his hand in a hotel lobby, waiting for some entitled, fucking disrespectful twat woman to come down and let him up to his room after he'd, got dressed and made his way to take this woman on a date, and she couldn't even be fucked to come downstairs and let him up. From taking that to taking zero shit and having multiple women wanting to be with Stacey and trying to vie for his attention and vie for his time, and him casually dating multiple women with a view to finding the right woman, okay, finding his perfect match. What happened, do you think? How do you think this made Stacey feel? But it's not the results that made Stacey feel a certain way. The key here that we all miss, and this is the secret of the universe, is that we had to get Stacey to a state of feeling as though he was worthy and deserved to have this and was feeling attractive, feeling like the king, feeling like the boss. And that's when the women start to notice. It's not the other way around. You don't get the girl and then feel like you're worthy of it. This is the upside down, back to front mistake that everyone's making. When I get the money, I'll be worthy. When I get the car, when I get the house, when I change this, when I change that, when I do this, when I do that. No, you can work on all that stuff. We've got to change what's in here. And so back to the story, step one was building a funnel and a system, getting the communication right, changing the way he saw himself, changing his own self-worth, his own self-value, and then getting some experiences and practicing those new experiences and elevating all the way through that. And then once Stacey was meeting new women, we had to work on his attractive non-verbal and verbal communication. How would he touch women? How would he approach women? How would he interact around women? What was his body language like? What was his posture like? How would he talk to them? What would he say? What would he do? How does he kiss women? Okay? All of these things are, when you're free as a man of not feeling unworthy, it's very easy to implement new behaviors and new strategies and new ways of being around women that women respond to very positively. So we did all that. And as Stacey continues to date and meet new women so that he can find his perfect match, he's already building the skill set in amongst all of this that is going to absolutely drive his ability to create a relationship with the right woman that is going to be set up on the right foundation where he's in charge, he's the leader, he's the boss, he's leading her, he's got a vision, he's got a plan, he's got ambition, he's got drive, he knows where he wants to take her, he knows how this woman fits into his life, and he recognizes that she is not the prize. Him and his life is the prize. He is of the ultimate value. And any woman that wants to come into his life, if she doesn't recognize his value, then she's not the woman for him, because the right woman is going to recognize that Stacey is going to take her places that are much higher than where she's ever been before in all facets of life. And that's a train that she wants to get on board. And he's the conductor, he's the train driver, and this is a beautiful place to be. What happens? How do you feel when you get to this place? The confidence is so strong. You just sit there and you feel like a rock. Nothing can hurt you. Nothing bothers you. Rejection doesn't exist. You realize rejection is just a fallacy in your mind. You can only be rejected when you feel like you're not worthy internally. Women respond to you better. Women want to be with you. You end up with multiple options that you get to choose from. You get to select a woman from a place of abundance instead of a place of trying to please a woman, trying to manipulate a woman into liking you by doing shit for her. This is what the nice guy and the people-pleasing syndrome is. You end up doing more because you don't feel worthy, so you do more and more and more, and you try to please this woman into loving you again and respecting you again, and it never works. It just gets worse and worse until she eventually leaves with your house and everything, okay? It's the complete opposite. You've got to flip that around. You've got to be the man. And in my dating academy, the new Real Men's Dating Academy, Stacey's in there, the other guys in there. This is what's happening, and this is how they begin to feel like the prize. And so Stacey is just one of a string of incredible success stories from working with me, because I'm so deeply passionate about helping men who are suffering become the best, most attractive, most powerful, most king version of themselves, which is exactly what Stacey has managed to do. And at the risk of rattling on too much, that's all from me today. So if you're interested in learning more about how I help men just like you, Stacey, myself, who went through a really tough divorce, had a long relationship, they went through a separation or breakup in their relationships, and you want to start going on 1 to 3 dates with high quality women in just a few short months. And guys, that's what you got to do, because if you want to find your perfect match, you can't just meet 1 girl a year or 2 girls a year. You've got to put in place a system where you can meet a lot of women in a short period of time. And that's what we teach you in the academy, how to do that. I want you to check out the first link in the description below, where you can learn all about my one-on-one dating coaching and the natural attraction dating blueprint. That's it for now. Peace, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.